we're so thrilled to have him here with all of us. Give a warm welcome to Clayton as he gets us started in a good way today.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Yeah! Man, it is so good to be here in the territory of the new credit Mississauga Anishinaabe peoples and all the people of the city of Toronto. I'm super stoked to be here. I've come all the way from Treaty 6, Manitoba territory, from the community of Pugadawaga Cree Nation. I live in the city of Winnipeg, but yeah, I'm super happy to be here. Before I share the words that I wanted to share with you all today to add my voice to the incredible leaders, grassroots leaders that have traveled here from the front line of mining resistance, I want to sing a song to bring in spirit in a good way and to say a little bit of an invocation. So I'll just say a few words of prayer in a good way, and then sing a song, and then I'll share a few words. So, Abuju, Tanse, Zongabinisi and the Nage, the Gaskanitotem, Nolta Way, Numashomas, Nukumas, Mother Earth, Father Sky, star beings, and great mystery of the universe. We come before you today here on the steps of the Toronto Stock Exchange during the beginning of the world's largest mining summit to ask you for your help, your protection, your blessing, your guidance of all of the frontline communities that are here to express their concern, their grave concern with the impacts of mining technologies on their way of life, their water security, their human rights, their treaty rights, on all things good. We're here to call out Canadian-based mining companies, and we need your help, Notaway, to bless each and every single person here, to help them with their work today, and to help our message travel and touch the hearts of human beings all across Mother Earth. Help us do that in a good way today, Notaway. Numashomas, Nukumas, our ancestors, come and help us. Ancestors of these lands we're standing on, help us in a good way. And help especially the bankers, the CEOs, the corporate shareholders, and all the people involved in the industry of mining, that we could touch them in their hearts, in their minds, and most importantly in their spirits, Notaway, to move them to do the right thing. So in a good way, raise my hands and I say hi to all the ancestors, all the peoples, all of the life that we share the biosphere with in a good way. As we call it, winter pay. Yeah, so about a month ago, my relatives from the Sami Nation reached out to me, and they said, we're really concerned, Clay. You've helped us out before, so we're calling you because you live in those lands they call Canada. And there's a company called Blue Moon Metals Incorporated, a Canadian-based company that's threatening our sacred reindeer herding lands. So my relative, Biska from the Sami Parliament, and his colleague, they're going to get on the mic over at the PDAC once we're done our march and share their story of why they came here today. And I also thought it was a really good opportunity to come and lend my voice to the voices that are all here today that are going to be talking to you all about what they're fighting to protect at home. Because back home in Treaty 6 territory in northern Manitoba, we got a big problem. Because we got the most popular premier in Canada right now, Wab Kinew, who's a good friend of mine, a brother of mine. But Wab Kinew supports the mining sector. In Manitoba, the Port of Churchill is set to become the biggest export terminal in the hemisphere in the next 10 to 15 years. Because the Arctic Ocean is now free from ice due to climate change, our rapidly destabilizing climate, Canada is going to start exporting all of the resources they're extracting from native lands out of the Hudson Bay, because it cuts shipping export lanes by 8,000 kilometers anywhere across Mother Earth. And Hud Bay gold mining and the Hudson Bay Rail in the province of Manitoba have just completed their first rare earth minerals shipment out of the Port of Churchill. And Wab Kinew just announced last week that they're going to double rare earth mineral exports out of the Port of Churchill. And all of the exports coming from North America are going to go right through Pugadawaga, right through my people's traditional territory. And this is colonization 2.0, folks. Because this is going to bring tens of thousands of people to our lands, to work the ports, to work the mining renaissance that's happening across northern Manitoba. We've got not just Hud Bay operating gold mines in our territory, but also Alamos Gold, strong-arming our chief and council, trying to get another massive open-pit gold mine in our territory. Pakatawagan in our language literally means Pakatawagan, to throw the fishing net into the water, is what Pakatawagan, the name of my nation, means. So I come from a land of water. It's all rivers and swamps and lakes and streams, and all of them are connected by underground tunnels where the sacred serpents that the thunderbirds eat to live swim through. And so we're very concerned about the impacts of cyanide leach heap mining on our fishery, because where we come from, we are a fishing and a hunting people, and we need our water to be healthy. And our treaty rights are being run over roughshod by the province of Manitoba, by the mining sector that they're working in collusion with, and by the settler colonial state of Canada and this dance that they're doing with the mining sector. 87% of the world's mining companies based here in the settler colonial state of Canada. And Canada is a colonizer. They're exporting militarization. They're exporting shitty, outdated mining technologies to oppress people all across the planet, calling it economic development, calling it a good thing, when we know that they're using technology that's over a century old. And that's why that they always destroy water. They always poison food sources. And you know what? They never clean up their messes. Shame! And so I'm here today to stand in solidarity with all of you, to call out the biggest mining summit on earth, to call out the banks that are financing them, to call out the police apparatus and the militarization that they're bringing across our peaceful territories to try and facilitate a change sooner than later. So, I'm going to pass the mic back to my co-MC, Rachel here. We've got some excellent speakers today, and I'm excited to merge with you all. The sun is coming out, so it's going to get hot in here. Yeah!
I'm gonna start with some logistics, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about why we started our march here. But I'm Rachel. I'm an organizer with the Mining and Justice Solidarity Network. We're a Toronto-based grassroots activist group that's been fighting against Canadian mining and its violence, always in solidarity with the frontline communities, literally in every corner of the world, who are dealing with their bullshit. We've been around as a grassroots collective. I should have looked at the numbers. I'm gonna say 17 years now. We've been showing up at PDAC at least 10 years. The resistance to Canadian mining goes on just as long and is much stronger than all of the Canadian mining industry. You're part of a huge lineage today of people all over the world, and also right here in this city, who are just not gonna stop pushing back as long as there is a Canadian mine stealing Indigenous territory, contaminating the rivers, causing violence. So it is just deeply meaningful and beautiful that you're here today, and people around the world are paying attention to what is happening here in the belly of the beast. Thank you for being part of it. From a logistics perspective, we have an access van. Can someone point to where it is right now? One of my organizers. It's like right at the corner, just right here, it's just out of sight. You can get on and off it anytime during the march. We've got lovely folks to support you with that. We also have a wagon that is there that has snacks. We've got like pakoras and samosas, like good warm snacks. We've got hand warmers. We're gonna take care of each other today, all right? We don't want people getting colds and having their fingers fall off. Okay, we've got some chairs if folks need to sit down. We also have some hot drinks. Also, we don't talk to cops here, right? We have a police liaison who's with us who's gonna do any talking to them that's necessary. We're gonna ask everyone else not to. We've got some media here today who are gonna share the stories of the people who travel far away from here to, we need everybody to hear their voices. We've got some media reps to talk to them, so don't worry about doing interviews if you're not ready to. We've got lots of people here who are ready to talk to them. I think that's all the logistics I need to cover. I'm gonna talk about why we are here. So first of all, this is Tigurundo. This is a city built on stolen indigenous land, the ancestral territory of many nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, Seneca, and Petun, and the Mississaugas of the Credit River. This is stolen land that needs to be given back. We're going to be talking about stolen land all over the world, but let's not forget where we are right here. This is land subject to the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacies, and all allied nations to peaceably share and care for all the land around the Great Lakes. This remains the law of the land. It's on all of us to uphold it, especially given the fact that the colonial Canadian government has refused to do so, has done the opposite, right? They've acted with violence instead of peace. They've willfully and meticulously destroyed the land around the Great Lakes instead of caring for it as the covenant demands. We're here to uphold that treaty, to uphold the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Belt Covenant as we talk about stolen land all around the world as well. All right, we right now are out in front of the Toronto Stock Exchange. This is the center of global mining capital. More than 50% mining companies around the world are raising their funds right here inside this building. I mean, a lot of it is digital right now. It's all based right here. So that's why we're starting our march here. Because even as land defenders across the world are blockading, are shutting down Canadian mines, are standing up to them, even as land defenders are arrested for simply being on their territory. Some folks are going to talk about that later. Even as massacres are taking place right now in Palestine, in the Congo, they're using weapons made from the minerals extracted by Canadian mines. These extractive companies, they think they can hide in their convention center that we're going to march to. They think they can keep giving each other awards for corporate social responsibility, for sustainability. They keep trying to hold glitzy galas to celebrate their warmongering, their greenwashing, their sustainability. For shame! So while they're schmoozing and celebrating each other, we are going to be talking about what they are really doing. Because what their business as usual is a direct path to a planet that is literally unlivable. The scale of their contamination of water, of land, of the air is unfathomable. And meanwhile, a quarter of all global carbon emissions come from the mining industry. They are literally destroying our planet. We know that their business as usual is a world with even greater wealth inequality. It's a world where Indigenous people are removed from their land at gunpoint, so Canadian companies can dig up critical minerals used to make the bombs that are bombing other Indigenous people on their land around the world. For shame! We know their business as usual is a world where the mining companies that afflict mass forced displacement are the same ones lobbying for racist and fascist migration policies. They're the ones lobbying for border militarism while they're the ones evicting people off their land. For shame! Their business as usual is a world defined by imperialism, by colonialism, a world of profit over people. And today, that's what we're standing up to. We're going to be marching through the belly of the beast, and today we're calling the shots. We're going to be putting front and center the folks who have traveled thousands of kilometers to be here, and local organizers who have been showing up every single day to stand up to the violence of Canadian mining and militarism. Today we stand united. Let's do a chant to get us started. Garrity Collective, please give her a very, very warm welcome.
Hi everyone. How's everybody doing? I'm with the Sudan Solidarity Collective and I want to thank the organizers for inviting us to be here. A brutal war is raging in Sudan between two factions of a military regime that grabbed power in October 2021, attempting to crush a powerful revolution which overthrew the dictatorship of Omar al-Bashir after 30 years in power. This war between military elites has claimed an estimated 150,000 lives, displaced over 13 million people, and created the world's largest humanitarian and hunger crisis in a country that could easily feed itself. This is not a civil war, but a counter-revolutionary war that continues because of the ways external states and corporations, including Canadian ones, are fueling it to increase their profits. On one side of this war, we have the United Arab Emirates, supporting the Rapid Support Forces with weapons in exchange for stolen Sudanese gold, which they sell to Russia and other countries. On the other hand, we have Egypt, the Ukraine, Iran, and Saudi Arabia supporting the Sudanese army, who control almost 70% of Sudan's economy, close to 200 companies in rubber, livestock, and minerals that are backed by Gulf financing. The RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, which is largely responsible for the genocide in Darfur that began in 2003, was legitimized by the European Union in 2014 as they attempted to externalize their border from the Mediterranean further south to the border of Sudan and Libya by paying them $200 million to detain and deport East African migrants trying to enter Libya. The RSF was also represented by the Canadian PR company Dickens and Madsen, led by an ex-Israeli intelligence officer who helped them clean up their image after they committed a massacre at a sit-in during the 2019 revolution. One of the corporations complicit in Sudan's long history of state violence is the London Consortium, which is right here. And they, an oil and mining company that received an award last year at this very convention. The London Group has been charged with aiding and abetting war crimes in Sudan between 1999 and 2003, one of the bloodiest phases of a civil war that ended in 2005. They're also charged with creating the conditions that sparked the genocide in Darfur, which killed over 300,000 people and displaced 2.5 million from resource-rich, fertile lands. London is part of a larger consortium of mining, oil, and weapons manufacturing companies that are seeing their stocks rise as civilians in Gaza, Sudan, and Congo are being murdered. It is these companies that force us to connect the dots between the genocide in Palestine and Congo and the war in Sudan. Our retirement funds and university endowments are tied to this consortium of murderers. My employer, the University of Toronto's pension fund, invests in companies that supply weapons to the Israeli Defense Forces, the UAE, and the Rwandan Defense Forces, widely known to support the M23 militia as they besiege towns in the mineral-rich North Kivu region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Nearly 3,000 Congolese have been killed and 500,000 displaced since the siege began in January. We must connect these dots. In October of 2021, after the Army and RSF staged their coup, the Canadian company Orca Gold, recently bought by an Australian company, signed a multi-million-dollar deal to exploit Sudan's gold with the same war criminals now waging this war. Last summer, I was in Denende in the Northwest Territories for a solidarity gathering. Some of the same mining companies that were fueling state violence in parts of Africa are now exploiting indigenous land and labor and contaminating vital water resources in Denende. The companies claim that extracting minerals like diamonds, cobalt, coltan, and gold, made also used for weapons in indigenous territories, make them no longer conflict minerals. But what could be more violent than extracting minerals and contaminating soil and water from stolen indigenous land that the Canadian settler colonial state refuses to give back? This is how indigenous self-determination in North America and the global struggle to demilitarize is tied to the struggle for a liberated Sudan and Congo. From Sudan to Turtle Island, these are not conflict minerals, they are genocide minerals. It is therefore our duty as people living in proximity to the headquarters where this consortium of corporate murderers sit comfortably plotting how to up their profits to our death, to disrupt their business as usual, to make their lives uncomfortable. It is also our duty to hold the settler colonial Canadian government accountable for their racist response to the world's largest displacement crisis by accepting less than 3,000 Sudanese since the war began in comparison to the 300,000 Ukrainians they accepted before. And finally, I invite you to stand in solidarity with the Sudanese people organizing to survive in the face of the murderous global forces fueling this war by supporting the over 700 emergency response rooms that emerged to provide people with critical mutual aid as the international community abandons them. You can go to SudanSolidarity.com to donate or sign up for our new Workshop for Sudan series inspired by workshops in Gaza. We are not afraid and we will not back down until the murderers walking around at this convention and trading at the stock exchange are brought to justice. Our collective liberation is contingent upon this form of justice, and we will see it within our lifetime. And I dedicate this to my daughter Layla, who's right there.
Thank you to Nisreen for always showing up, always representing. This is a tireless organizer. We love you, Nisreen. I want to give a special shout out to the London group, who is a PDAC sponsor this year, who's given an award by PDAC last year, and who's literally on trial right now, I forgot where, in Sweden, for their war crimes during the civil war in Sudan. This is what PDAC's all about. These are the villains we're talking about. They're giving them awards, and we're calling out their violence. Shame.
Okay. Thank you so much to our sister from Sudan for those powerful, powerful words. We're going to invite our next speaker up. Before we start this march to the PDAC, I want you all to help me welcome our next speaker, who's traveled all the way from Chile, Valeria Sepulveda Rojas. Is the president of the organization of Para Penso, Park for Penso, which was born as an alternative for biodiversity and cultural protection in the face of threat from Canadian mining company Calera Resources and its rare earths Penco projects. Boo! She works as an environmental educator and local guide doing scientific ecotourism activities. She's also dedicated to developing projects that promote the ecological and social regeneration of communities and territories. In 2022, the people from Penco in Chile voted in a referendum against rare earth mining, but the company continues to push the project forward. Calera Resources lists on the Toronto Stock Exchange behind me and is in attendance at the PDAC this week. So help me in welcoming Valeria here to the sacred lands of the Mississauga New Credit Nishnabek. Aho!
Thank you. And a big thank you to Viviana from Mining Watch for translating for us today and for all that Mining Watch does.
Hola a todos y todas. My name is Valeria. I'm coming from Chile. Viviana, tú vas a traducir por mí. Voy a hablar I want to speak in Spanish. I'm coming from Chile. En Chile, la minería canadiense está dejando estragos en mi comunidad, está contaminando el agua, está causando violencia en mi comunidad. So hi everyone. Canadian mining is causing environmental harm in my community, contaminating water. And also is causing violence in my community. Además, se justifica esta minería de tierras raras y también los minerales de transición con la crisis climática que el norte global ha causado. Rare earth mining and critical mining is being justified as necessary to fight against the climate crisis. Nosotros decimos que esta minería es genocida y se usa para la guerra. We say that this type of mining is genocidal and is being used for the military purposes. Nosotros luchamos por la vida de la naturaleza y de las personas, y por el buen vivir. La minería canadiense no tiene cabida bajo esta premisa. We are fighting against mining and for water and for the environment. En Penco nosotros vivimos mucho tiempo de la pesca y también hemos vivido de la tierra. Todo esto está en peligro por culpa de la minería. We live of fishing, we live of water, and all of this, mining is threatening all of this. Además, las comunidades indígenas han sido históricamente despojadas de sus formas de vida y de su territorio.
indigenous peoples have been historically displaced out of their territories.
Nosotros luchamos por recuperar eso. Nosotros luchamos por recuperar también la vida en la cuenca de nuestro río donde esta minería quiere instalarse.
And so because of this, we've been fighting in order to recover these ways of life and against mining.
Aclara Research tiene los permisos de uso de agua de mi río.
Aclara Resources has acquired water permits in my community.
Eso es una grave amenaza a nuestra vida. Es una grave amenaza también a la vida que sustenta ese río.
And this threatens our life and this threatens our watersheds.
Nosotros le pedimos a Aclara Research que devuelva los permisos de agua, que los devuelva a la comunidad y que se vayan de mi país.
We are demanding that Aclara Resources gives back these water permits and leaves our community.
Quiero agradecer a todos ustedes por estar también luchando por la vida.
I also want to thank everyone who's here for joining this struggle and for fighting for life.
Y les invito también a seguir solidarizando con las comunidades de Latinoamérica y del mundo que lamentablemente están siendo diezmadas tanto por la guerra como por la minería que la sustenta.
So I invite you all to continue working in solidarity with communities around the world who are protecting life and against mining who's threatening water and being used for military purposes.
También les invito a ayudarnos porque nuestros gobiernos no están ayudando a las comunidades y están vendiendo a nuestro país y nuestros recursos a la minería canadiense y la minería de otros países que sustentan todo este genocidio.
And so we also ask you to support us because also our governments are working together with these mining companies and giving away our territories.
La comunidad de Penco dijo que no quiere la minera, que se vayan.
The community of Penco already said no to mining and already asked the mining company to get out.
Fuera, Aclara Research. Get out from my land. Quiero dedicar también este pequeño momento a un compañero de lucha indígena que ha muerto lamentablemente hace poco tiempo.
I also want to take this opportunity to talk about an indigenous leader who passed away recently.
Él luchaba también junto con nosotros para recuperar las memorias ancestrales y para proteger el agua y la vida de la naturaleza en mi país.
He was a community leader, an indigenous leader who was fighting to protect water, who fought to protect life and water.
Lamien Juan, él recorrió varios países también hablando del agua y de las herramientas para protegerla a través de una red de monitoreo de la que también soy parte y de la que en Chile estamos llevando a cabo junto con la comunidad, con los niños y con las personas.
So he traveled around the country in Chile, but also to other countries, talking about the need to protect water and also the need to have mechanisms such as water monitoring mechanisms and through a coalition, which I'm part of.
Y quiero decir gracias también tanto a este hermano que se nos fue, como a todas las personas que están en Penco resistiendo y luchando para mantener la biodiversidad, para mantener también la vida de las personas y de las comunidades indígenas, y porque las estoy representando. Gracias también porque me han enseñado la espiritualidad de la naturaleza y a reconectarme con ella y conmigo misma.
So I want to say thank you to my indigenous brother who was there to teach me about the need and the importance to protect water. But also I wanted to thank my own community who has taught me so much about water protection, and who has also taught me about the importance of spirituality.
Spirituality.
So I wanted to say thank you, because it's thanks to my community that I do the work that I do.
Thank you, Vivi. And we say parque para Penco. No meaning.
So he's
No war.
we say
Yes to life.
so we say yes to a park for Penco and no to mining.
Yeah, no mining, no war. Build the people's economy, that's what I'm talking about. My co-MC's gonna stage us up now. We can begin the march. So Rachel,
Can we do it? We're gonna get ready to march. We got this banner that's gonna slowly make their way safely down the steps to lead us. We're gonna be marching that way all together. For now, we're gonna kind of be on the sidewalk in the bike lane here, and that's gonna change. But right now, there's some barricades. So let's just slowly get ready to march this way. We've got some beautiful comrades from the Palestinian Youth Movement who are gonna be leading us in some chants while we march. So let's stay strong together, stay warm. Let's continue on our toxic tour to call out mining villains and hear from people who are sharing their stories of resistance.
and if any of you need to take a break, remember we have a van that'll be traveling with us. If you need to warm up, take a seat. For any of you that have mobility issues, we've got our support van. Please, if you need help or support in any way, talk to our marshals in the orange vests. And if the police are trying to talk to you, we do have an official police liaison that will be communicating with the Toronto Police Force during the duration of our march. So please, if the police talk to you, send them to our police liaison. We have someone taking care of that responsibility. Let's go, folks! Yeah!
So we're in King Bay right now. When we talk about being in the belly of the beast, when we talk about being in the global center of mining, violence, of colonialism, of Canadian extractivism, it is right here. And specifically, we're out here in front of TD, in front of BMO, or right across the street from BMO. Toronto is a major financial center, not just for Canadian mining, but for all of the Canadian banks. All of those banks are funding the worst violence on the planet. BMO is a major PDAC sponsor. It's a major investor in most major mining projects, but specifically Vale. Vale is famous because in 2015, their tailings dam collapsed at the Mariana mine in Brazil, which killed 19 people instantly. Then another Vale tailings dam collapsed a few years later, the Brumadinho mine, which killed 270 people. Honestly, we could be here all day sharing these kinds of examples of Canadian mines, of the companies financing them that are destroying lives all over the planet. But let's also talk about TD right behind me. They've invested over $225 billion in fossil fuel companies just in the past 10 years. These are the banks that are funding the destruction of our planet, literally. So that's why we're here, and I'm going to pass it over to Clayton to introduce our next speakers.
Okay. Yo! What's up, everybody? So yeah, as mentioned by Rachel, we're here in the belly of the financial beast, the bankers financing all of the extractivism that is damaging our way of life so tremendously. So we've got a very special speaker to come up. Adham, if you could join me up here on the mic, from the Palestinian Youth Movement. Shout out to Palestine! From the river to the sea. Adam.
Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. My name is Adham Diabas from the Palestinian Youth Movement. We are here today to protest against Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada's PDAC annual conference. Shame! The companies that are convening right now inside that building are the world's largest mining companies. A lot of them based in Canada and presenting themselves as crucial to Canadia's national security. The cost of this economic prosperity have disproportionately burdened Indigenous communities around the world and in Turtle Island. Shame! Shame! While mining might bring profits to shareholders and governments, it almost always devastates the land, lives, and cultures of Indigenous people. Shame! Shame! These mining companies often take advantage of weak environmental laws, corruption, and political instability to exploit resources, leaving behind poisoned rivers, defrosted lands, and displaced families. Shame! Shame! The struggles faced by our Indigenous comrades due to the harmful impacts of Canadian mining companies share significant parallels with the Palestinian liberation struggle, where land, identity, and sovereignty are at the core of the fight for justice. The themes of land dispossession, colonization, and environmental destruction as a tool of colonization, resistance, and struggle for sovereignty, these are all ongoing impacts of the colonial practices that draw a direct link between these struggles. We know that the metals and materials they extract are critical to sell to the military-industrial complex. The same one that facilitated the genocide in Gaza and the killing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, the same one that is killing thousands of Sudanese people, the same one that is killing thousands of people in the Congo being exploited in the mines, and the same one that is extracting resources from indigenous lands here. Shame! Shame! The term genocide is not used lightly. It is defined as the deliberate destruction of a people through killing, displacement, or infliction of serious harm. Gaza is a place where this definition is tragically being fulfilled. Shame! Shame! As Palestinians are systematically deprived of their basic rights, their dignity, and their very lives, the Palestinian liberation struggle has been in a long fight against colonialism and imperialist practices sanctioned and facilitated by Western hegemony. The Zionist entity has displaced over 40,000 people in the West Bank since the beginning of this year alone. Shame! Shame! The systematic violence and oppression of the Palestinian people has been going for over 100 years, and we will continue to resist by any means necessary for another 100 years if need be. We Palestinians know that we are not alone in this fight. We are seeing more and more people on our side, on the right side of history. We are seeing that there's a global movement for Palestine, a movement that refuses to be crushed, a movement that refuses to be repressed. We are seeing the Canadian state try to crush our spirits. They try to silence us through police violence. They try to silence us through legislative repression. But we know we have the truth and justice on our side. We will continue to show up at every mining convention, at every arms convention, at every MP office. We refuse to back down, and we refuse to allow mining companies and other companies like Maersk that continue to transport and operate to expand their profits, while the people of Palestine, Sudan, and Congo, and many more are murdered by the hands of these imperialists. Shame! Shame! We will continue to call for an arms embargo in this upcoming federal election, and we will call for an arms embargo. We are calling for the companies that provide the materials for the weaponry to be sanctioned. We are calling for the companies that directly profit from killing the people to be put on trial. Make no mistake, we are not going to be politely to ask the government of Canada for an arms embargo. We are going to demand it each and single day. Let us remember that empires have fallen time and time again, and that we, the people, have the power to make these empires fall. Let us remember that colonized people all over the world have crushed their imperialists, and this is no different. Let us remember that just like in Algeria, Vietnam, and Cuba, we will see victory against our colonizers, and we will rise no matter how much they try to push us down. Indigenous communities across the globe will continue to resist. The fight against central colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism is one. We know that our liberation is intertwined. The fight is not just for land, it is a fight for identity, it is a fight for sovereignty, it is a fight for freedom and justice for future generations. Free people of this world, I salute you all. It is time to globalize the Intifada. It is time to globalize the revolution. Long live the indigenous land defenders across Turtle Island. Long live the free people of Sudan. Long live the free people of Congo. And lastly, long live the resistance. And long live Palestine. Thank you all.
Are going to be saying that what they are doing there is not connected to Palestine, that it's somehow separate, but we know the truth. We know that in every single F-35 fighter jet used by Israel to bomb Gaza, there are over 900 pounds of rare earth minerals mined by the companies in PDAC for Lockheed Martin. We know our struggles are connected. We're going to stand together to shut them down. I want to let folks know that we've got flyers that were given out to us, as well as to other people that were passing, as well as at PDAC. There's a QR code there. We're going to ask folks to scan it, because the impacted communities speaking here have given us, if there's one thing people can do here to stand with you, what is it? We've got that linked on that flyer. So for example, there's a link from the PIM to demand an arms embargo on Israel immediately. There's a link from folks in the Congo raising money urgently for their comrades back home. I just want to give a shout out. So we'll give out flyers to folks here, we'll give them out elsewhere, and take the time to scan what's on there and to take that one solidarity action that these folks are asking you to do. Let's do an arms. Introduce the Switch Collective. My phone is frozen in the cold. Give me 1 second to pull up their intro here. We're so honored to have artists here with us. Okay, rooted in transformative justice and decoloniality, the Switch Collective is a multidisciplinary political street performance group of queer and trans artists. Woo woo! Today, members Lexi and Sedena have created a piece for us with their guest Kirk. We're so honored to have artists here with us, taking the streets, taking action, welcoming them up here today. Please give them a warm welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Sedna Fiati, and I'm proudly an artist and an activist. My name means a gift from God in the Ghanaian language of Ewe, and I hope to be that to the world.
My name is Lexi, short for Alexandra Sproul. We're so proud to be here today amongst all these amazing organizers and fighters.
We are artists amongst other things, and it's opportunities like this where we get to use our art for something real that resonates so deeply with us. So we wrote this song, we did a lot of research and a lot of talking with Lindsay of Missin, and we're so excited to be here. So, all right, hit it, Kirk.
Again! For Switch Collective Artistic Intervention! Yo, movement people, movement family, it's so important that on all of our actions that we sing together, when we march together. Because when we sing together, our breath and our heartbeats align. And that's so important because when our breathing and our heartbeats align, our movement collective discipline is powerful. Our intention collectively that we're putting out for the day is powerful when our voices, our heartbeats, and our breathing align. So thank you so much for that beautiful artistic intervention on today's Direct Action. We're going to continue our march now to Royal Bank of Canada, one of the biggest financiers of the global climate crisis and extractivism. So you're going to follow our banners at the front of the march. Please, if there's a trouble, go to our people in the vests. Those are our marshals. And if the police are trying to talk to you, send them to our police intervener. Okay, we're going to have some more speakers at the Royal Bank of Canada, and then it's on to PDAC. And while we're marching to Royal Bank of Canada, we're going to have a song in the traditional Sami way of one of our speakers that's coming up at PDAC. P-Skill is going to sing a Sami yoik. Yeah, so he's going to sing that to lift up our spirits. So let's continue to march together in a good way. We'll just get organized back and taking the street again. Hey everybody, just take the center street here. We're going to have our next speakers because we're right here in front of the Royal Bank of Canada, one of the biggest climate criminals financing extractivism and human rights violation, militarization across our sacred Mother Earth. We're going to have our speakers come up. So, we're right across from the Barrack Building, Vale, across from the Barrack Building, RBC. This is where we're standing right now. So the Barrack Gold HQ is right across the street from the RBC building. Boo! Shame! Barrack is maybe one of Canada's most notorious companies. Barrack Gold has been accused of countless abuses, amongst which are gang raping in Tanzania and Papua New Guinea, an entire village burnt down in Papua New Guinea, endless pollution, and a propensity to sue Canadians who speak out against their harms. Shame on Barrack. Barrack has a major gold mine in the DRC, the Kibali mine. An investigation into this mine found overwhelming evidence that the expansion of the Kibali mine has entailed large-scale dispossession and violence affecting local communities. Shame! Other Canadian mining companies active in DRC are the Ivanhoe Mines, which trades on the TSX, Vancouver HQ. This mine forcibly evicted hundreds of people. Shame! My co-host here, my co-MC, Rachel's going to introduce our next powerful speaker here to call out these atrocities.
Right in front of Barrack, we're going to bring up the incredible Kashoro Nyenyezi. She's a PhD candidate in social justice, specializing in violence, sexual and gender-based violence, and she's the founder of Helping Hands for Survivors in the DRC. She is in daily touch with her friends and her family and the comrades in the Congo who are facing just the worst violence we can imagine right now. So we're all going to extend our love and a deep, warm welcome to bring Kashoro up here to share with us today what's going on. Again, right in front of RBC's building that is literally plated in gold in their windows, and in front of Barrack, one of the biggest and worst mining companies on the planet. Please welcome Kashoro.
Thank you. As I stand here, I have many women on the street and children running for their lives, others being killed, others being burned, and there is no one who is helping them right now. So I thank you for being here for the people of Democratic Republic of Congo. Just imagine a child no older than your own, forced to filter through toxic soil, not for play, but for survival. Imagine a mother, her hands rough and her body weakened, not for years of loving labor, but from harsh, dangerous work in a mine. This is the reality for countless women and children in Democratic Republic of Congo. a reality deeply connected to the minerals that power our modern lives. Today, I want to bring to your attention, the profound and devastating impact of mining in the Democratic Republic of Congo on the lives of its most vulnerable citizens, women and children. As Canadians and human beings, we have responsibility to understand the far-reaching consequences of our consumption and to recognize the human cost behind the technology we rely on. First, war that is going on right now. Sexual and gender-based violence accelerate dramatically in mining regions. The influx of workers, including security personnel, creates a climate of exploitation and abuse. Conflict over resources leads to displacement, leaving women and children even more vulnerable. This isn't just a distant tragedy. It's a direct consequence of the global demand for resources, a demand that often disregards human rights. This systemic, like a colonial system of the past, still creates violence against wicked. Second, economic hardships and loss of livelihood are threatening. Mining contaminates vital life sources and destroys agricultural land, the traditional means by which women sustain their families. They are often forced into low-paying, dangerous jobs within the mine, with little to no protection. This is not just poverty, it is a systemic injustice that strips women of their autonomy and their ability to provide for their children. Third, health and social problems are pervasive. Exposure to toxic substances lead to severe health issues with limited access to health care and clean water. The breakdown of traditional support systems further isolates weakens women and children living with susceptible to exploitation. This is a direct violation of their fundamental human rights, a violation that should deeply concern all of us here today. Finally, missed opportunities and long-term impacts that create a circle of depression. Children are forced into labor, robbing them of their education and future. The trauma experienced by these women and children is intergenerational, directing a long shadow over their communities. However, it is important to remember that they are not passive victims. They show agency and resistance in the face of the immense difficulty. Now, as Canadian and human beings just like us, we can no longer ignore this reality because the world is facing it, not only in the DRC, but in other countries where people are being oppressed due to their minerals. We must demand ethical sourcing of minerals and support organizations working to protect women and children, not only in the DRC, but in any other country where there is war. We must advocate for policies that hold corporations accountable and promote sustainable development. Let us remember that our actions as consumers and as citizens have a direct impact on lives of those on the other side of the world. Let us choose to be a force for positive change. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, let's hear it for our sister, our auntie from the Congo. Dropping some serious powerful words. You know, it is a travesty what our people all face in the wake of extractivism and the oppression that it brings. Here in Canada and all across the world, frontline people, we deal with militarization, and part of that militarization comes with it the act of criminalization, you know? These oppressors, these banks, these corporations, the police that they work in collusion with, the settler colonial state governments they work in collusion with, they criminalize our people. They criminalize our people's voices, they criminalize our prayers, they criminalize everything about us so that they can get back to our access into our land, extract our resources, and sell it on the international market to the highest bidder. And they manipulate, especially the police apparatus. Here in Canada, and First Nations peoples have been dealing with criminalization and militarization attributed to Canada's extractive industries-based economy. And probably no one else knows a contemporary oppression from the police state as good or as much, as deeply and intimately as the Wet'suwet'en Nation and what they faced in their fight against all of the pipeline projects that have been going through their land, which the energy corporations and extractive industries view as an energy corridor they call the sacred Wet'suwet'en land in northern BC. Shame. And so today we have Wet'suwet'en land defender Eve Saint, who's a mother, an advocate, an organizer, an activist, just an all-around incredible human being, has come here today to share some words about criminalization of Indigenous peoples, about land defending. And so please join me in welcoming Eve Saint onto the mic right here in front of RBC, one of the biggest financiers of the pipelines that our people have been fighting.
Thank you, Chimigwach. Chimigwach, for everyone who's here. Thank you. Give yourselves a big pat on the back because it's really cold out here. So just give yourself a shake, move around, get some warmth. Get some warmth, yes. And thank you so much, because it is cold, and we need to keep on coming together, because you know what? There's a small group of us fighting for our human rights, for our lives, for our people. We're standing in solidarity together, and that's what we need to continue to do. When we go over to that convention, you will see all these CEOs, all these mining CEOs going in, laughing at us. Yes, shame. They're laughing in our faces. They're laughing at the genocide. They're laughing at our people being slaughtered and killed. Shame. Keep on coming together. Every time I speak, I keep on encouraging people, because these people have our lives in their hands, especially with the climate crisis that is going on right now. We do not need another pipeline. We do not need more extraction projects going through our lands. We are on the pathway to destruction. I hate to say it, but it's true. We do not have until 2050 to get to whatever climate where the earth is going to be okay. No. It's serious stuff right now. So we need to keep on fighting these entities, the government, these big banks like RBC, who does not give a shit about us. We keep on coming to this doorstep every year to their AGMs, and they don't give a shit. They do not value human life whatsoever. They value money. Yes, shame. And guess what? That's exactly what it is. They have this whole world in their hands. They don't care about the future generations. They don't. And with what we do, we have to push the envelope. Every time when we stood up to CGL and we shut it down, we shut our territories down so that they cannot come through our territories. We put our bodies, our lives on the line. guys, RCMP, hundreds of them, falling from helicopters just to drag us off our territories. We have to do what we have to do, and we have to keep on coming up and showing up for our children, for each other. It's critical times right now, critical, and we need to show up for everyone. And look, and they're probably what do you call it? Surveilling us. They stalk us, and yeah, they hunt us. Right? Yeah, shame. We got to, and we're not the criminals. We are not the criminals. We don't have any weapons. No, we come in peace. We're peaceful. We defend ourselves. They're the ones committing crimes, stealing lands, stealing resources, stealing children, stealing lives. They should be arrested. They should be criminalized, not us. So I just wanted to repeat that. I keep on repeating that. We have to push the envelope. We have to step out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we have to break that law. But, you know. Yeah, their laws are bullshit. It only protects one group of people, and it's not us. All right, I love you guys. You know, keep on showing up, and yes, hearts, love to everyone, and keep on showing up. Chimigwich, thank you.
Thanks so much to Issei from Wet'suwet'en Nation. Big shout out to everybody in Wet'suwet'en, yeah. Prayers and love. And I can't say it enough. Royal Bank of Canada is at the top of the heap, top of the pyramid of financial investment and power behind the extractive industries in these lands that they call Canada. And so we absolutely need to continue to keep pressure on the Royal Bank of Canada and all the other banks in these lands that they call Canada to get them to be investing in the right things that don't sacrifice certain communities at the altar of irresponsible economic policy, so they don't criminalize our people just for standing up to defend the sacredness of water, to defend our human rights, our indigenous rights. Okay, so we're going to continue. I'm going to pass the mic to my co-MC Rachel, who's going to give us some instructions for our final destination, the PDAC.
And I want to say again, this is the flyer I'm talking about. If you don't have one, get one. But also the link that I'm talking about is mininginjustice.org/act, because we're not just showing up on the streets today in solidarity with everyone speaking here about Canadian mining. We need to keep showing up. So at that link is where our speakers have told us if people here do just one thing after the march, this is what we're asking them to do. So there's a link to support Wet'suwet'en legal defense for the folks who are in the colonial courts this week. We're going to show up for that. There's a link for Shoro's organization, Helping Hands, supporting survivors in the DRC. We're going to donate to that. There's links on how to demand an arms embargo in Canada. So we're asking folks to keep sharing those links. I know it's cold right now. You don't have to go on your phone and do it right this second, but take the flyer and keep showing up in solidarity. And for the people who tell you, oh, I wish I was there. It was too cold. I couldn't make it. Whatever. Tell them that's okay. Do these things. This is what the communities destroyed, resisting Canadian mining are asking us to do to show up and support. So now, like Clayton said, we are going to be marching to PDAC, because if they think they can have the world's biggest mining convention in our city and we're not going to have something to say about it, they are fucking wrong. So as we march, we're going to work on this chant again, where I'm going to say something like... Shut down, PDAC. I'm going to say theft from colonial violence, from
in Norway, Finland, Sweden, and in Russia. They have 4 settler colonial states that span across their beautiful land, and they share a very, very sacred relationship, like all indigenous peoples do, with the circle of life that they take care of. Part of that relationship is a very special relationship with the reindeer herd that they raise in their territory. And it's just like the Dene people with the caribou. It's just like the Cree with the moose. Very, very special subsistence, intact subsistence economy in this modern economic era. And so we absolutely have to stand in solidarity with people who understand their role in the circle of life, to speak for those that cannot speak for themselves, that I'm talking about our plant and animal and winged relatives, the ones that swim in the rivers, oceans, and streams. And so, my 2 friends that have come here, first we will hear from Ragnar Marit, who's an attorney from Sami, and we are also going to hear from member of Sami Parliament, Piska Nilas, who will also sing another yoke too to invoke that spirit and the ancestors of the Sami people. So help me in welcoming our Sami relatives to the microphone here at the front of the PDAC conference.
Thank you. Dear Indigenous sisters and brothers, supporters, allies, and all who stand with us in solidarity, it's an honor to be here with you. My name is Ragnhild Varisara, and I'm a Sami indigenous woman and lawyer from the north of Norway. I'm here because the Canadian mining company Blue Moon Metals has acquired mining rights to the land at the heart of our Sami community's reindeer grazing land in Sápmi in the Arctic. This mine is the biggest copper deposit ever found in Norway, and it threatens to destroy our Sami indigenous ancestral land, pollute our environment, and jeopardize our culture, livelihood, and our traditional way of life. All land that we've cared for and used for reindeer pasture for centuries. Our delegation is actually 4 more of us who are not here today. But our delegation from Sápmi is here in Canada to send Blue Moon Metals the clear message that by acquiring these rights in Sápmi, they are about to violate the human rights of the affected Sami people. And therefore, we have come here to warn them. They are wasting both their time and their money. Because we're not going to give up, and we will never give them our consent. But today is not just about one project. It's about, in solidarity, resisting the ongoing legacy of colonialism and exploitation. It's about asserting our rights and showing the world that we are the rightful custodians of our ancestral lands and protectors of Mother Earth, not obstacle to progress. And as we have gathered here for this peaceful march today, we're not just protesting, we're standing up for our sovereignty, our future, and the future of the generations to come. In solidarity, we confront the industry that has historically taken our lands without consent, respect, or accountability, leaving devastation of cultures and traditional livelihoods in its wake. We refuse to be silenced or ignored any longer. Our voices are strong and we demand respect. Let me be clear, our land is not for sale. The resources beneath our feet do not belong to the corporations chasing profit. As indigenous peoples, we demand that our rights be respected. For first, the right to free, prior and informed consent. No development can proceed without our explicit consent. We are the guardians of our traditional lands, and our right to say yes or no is non-negotiable. For the second, the right to a healthy environment. We have the right to a healthy environment and to use natural resources sustainably, ensuring the preservation of our livelihoods. And for the third, the right to protection of our culture. Our connection to the land is sacred. The land they wish to exploit is not just a resource, it's part of who we are, our ancient history, culture, and way of life. No exploitation shall destroy our sacred sites or erase our cultures or traditions. We are here to demand change, to stand firm, and to show that Indigenous rights cannot be dismissed. We stand together in solidarity with all Indigenous peoples fighting similar battles. Our struggles are connected, and our cause is just. To those inside the PDAC conference, let this be clear: we will not back down. We will continue fighting for our lands, our rights, and a future where our children can live on this earth as our people have done through generations, respecting land, water, animals, and all people. And lastly, thank you to all of you gathered here for your strength, spirit, and unwavering commitment. We are not alone, we are one. Together we will make our voices heard. This is just the beginning. We will continue protecting the earth, nature, and its people. And together we can win the fight for the Indigenous people's right to exist into the future, because we have the right to be here. Listo, thank you.
Kiitos Rangilmäelle. Ja kiitos mitä sitä tulee. Kiitos Leistonille päättämille. Thank you Rangilmäelle. Thank you to Clayton. And thank you to all of you to letting us be in your space. I just want to add a few more things and not so much more. But the people Blue Moon Metals are dealing with. We shut down the government of Norway for 8 days a couple of years ago. And this mining project is the most controversial project there is in the whole of Scandinavia right now. We have a mining act, a mining law in Norway that was never given consent to by the Sami people. We are in a new process, and they also seem to shut us down this time also. So we will not get a mining act in accordance to free, prior and informed consent and indigenous people's rights. So it's a dead end to invest right now in projects on Sami land. That's a clear message. I want to because I wasn't prepared earlier in the march to do the joiking, the joikan. But I've been thinking about a joik that seems fitting. We need change. And then I remembered the song from this 70s rock band, Wind of Change. But we also have a joik that is called Pekka, the wind.
So I want to invite up my co-MC, who's going to introduce our final speaker. Yeah.
Let's give a warm welcome to Zach from Anak Bayan. Time to show some solidarity with our comrades from the Philippines. Can I get a Zach up here, please? All right. While we're waiting, I also just want to say we have a lot of samosas. We have pakoras. We have hot tea because we take care of each other. We want everybody to stay as warm as possible. We have those things for you to eat them. So please eat them. There's some in the wagon at the back. We got people coming around with them. So this is, my my Jewish heritage showing up. This is my inner Badri telling me to get everybody to eat some food and to stay warm and to take care of each other. All right, let's have a warm welcome for Zach.
Thank you. Am I sounding good right now? today? Yeah, okay. I hope everybody's keeping warm. Today is really cold. But yeah, good afternoon, friends, comrades. I'm Zach, here to represent Anakbayan Toronto as we join you all to oppose the PDAC convention, the gathering of an industry that continuously abuses the land, its resources, and its people in every corner of the world, including the ones represented by the people we stand with today. We at Anakbayan condemn the Canadian mining industry, which headquarters 75% of the world's mining companies. And we condemn the Canadian government that backs it for its crimes of refusing to hold those companies accountable when they destroy both the land and the people of the countries they degrade. Inside that building are thousands of representatives of an industry that makes its money extracting the land of its resources and leaving nothing for those living there. Inside that building are the companies which routinely destroy local communities and ecosystems, displacing families and leaving nothing but a poisoned world behind. Inside that building is the Canadian mining industry that came to the Philippines in 1996 and caused what is now known as the Mar Copper mining disaster, where toxic waste was discharged into the rivers, leaving animals dead, water undrinkable, communities flooded, and thousands displaced. The land remains poisoned and scarred to this day because of the companies inside that building. And it's important to note that the Philippines is not underdeveloped, it is overexploited. Canada is complicit in the US imperialism that ravages the Philippines and benefits through billions of dollars of Canadian mining profits every year. And it justifies to insidious corporate stakeholders across the world its continuing oppression of the Filipino people. This overexploitation takes and leaves nothing behind. It takes not only resources, but it takes through red tagging, through human rights violations, increasing militarization, displacement, land theft, and so much more. The irresponsible mining of Canadian companies erodes the land's natural protection. So when typhoon after typhoon hits the Philippines, its people are left in despair as floods worsened by the mining ruin their lives. The reason why 7,500 Filipino people leave the Philippines, leave their loved ones, leave their home every single day is because Marcos Jr., Duterte, and all of the deceitful political dynasties in power would rather collude with wealthy foreign investors than think of the welfare of their own people. And just as the land defenders from indigenous communities like the Wet'suwet'en here in Turtle Island are constantly attacked, arrested, and trampled upon for opposing the interests of Canadian capital, indigenous communities all over the archipelago, from the Igorot in Luzon to the Lumad in Mindanao, are constantly attacked, murdered, and disappeared by the Philippine government to give more way for Canadian companies to line their pockets with gold. And although the political dynasties allowing for this endless violence to happen are relentless, and although the current system of government is corrupt, the Filipino people, both here and back home, should take heart in knowing that there are candidates from the masses, such as those from the Makabayan bloc, fighting for an end of foreign control over the Philippine economy, for the rights of indigenous peoples to their ancestral lands, for the championing of pro-environmental laws, and for the removal of these destructive foreign investments. in spite of what we face here and across the world, we are strong. Change is possible and change will happen. And we at Anakbayan call for genuine change through genuine national democracy with a socialist perspective, so long as our governments act in the interests of imperialism and capital rather than in the interests of their own people, and so long as we live outside of a true democratic system. The crimes such as those committed by those in that building will only worsen. As we are doing now, we must continue organizing, protesting, and calling for action. We at Anakbayan stand here and say, end the murders, end the violence, end the destruction. Change is possible at atin ang kinabukasan. Yeah, man. Right on. So, we're coming up to the end of today's beautiful march, today's beautiful expression of resistance. But I wanted to, last week, or just a couple days ago actually, we had our friends from Grassy Narrows come here to Toronto. And Judy De Silva, a leader from their struggle, from their beautiful nation, couldn't be here today, but she really wanted to send a message for our gathering here in front of PDAC today. So Judy De Silva says, Grassy Narrows holds the longest running blockade in Canadian history, which was key in forcing out the world's largest paper company, Abitibi. Now, Grassy is fighting off mining in our territory as they close in on us. There are 6,000 claims in Grassy's Indigenous protected and conserved area, with major proposals for gold mines, and now a nuclear waste storage facility at our headwaters. All the while, the Dryden Mill continues to release effluent that worsens the mercury crisis in our waters and prolongs our 60-year fight for mercury justice. Grassy Narrows will never stop fighting to protect our culture, land, water, and the sources of all life. From Auntie Judy De Silva, mercury sufferer, mother, and grandmother, and your relative. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today, folks. I'm gonna pass it back to my co-MC who's gonna wrap us up here today. I wanna thank you all though for being here marching in these streets. Yeah.
We're gonna make some more loud noise, make sure those people can hear us. But first, I just want to say a couple things. I want to give a reminder that we asked our friends, our family, our relatives who showed up today, what can people do to support them? And they told us and they gave us links, and we put them on our website at mininginjustice.org/act. There's like a little QR code. You can do them now, you can do them when you get home, you can share them with your friends, but we want to keep showing up
for justice, peace, and love. We'll see you out